In the annals of American history, amidst the well-trodden paths of presidential biographies and Revolutionary War tales, lies a story so improbable, so drenched in intrigue and sheer audacity that it often slips through the cracks of popular consciousness. It's a narrative that begins not on battlefields or in grand halls of power, but in the gritty, unforgiving landscape of the American West, where one man's relentless pursuit of justice and an unlikely technological marvel would reshape the destiny of a nation. This is the saga of the Great Railroad Conspiracy of 1877, a plot so vast it threatened to unravel the very fabric of American commerce, and the unsung hero who brought it down, a quiet, unassuming telegraph operator named David S. Lavender. The year is 1877. America is a nation in flux, recovering from the scars of the Civil War, industrializing at a breakneck pace, and grappling with burgeoning labor movements. The Transcontinental Railroad, completed just 8 years prior, had become the pulsing artery of the nation, a symbol of progress and a vital conduit for goods, people, and information. Yet this very power made it a target, a shadowy consortium of powerful industrialists, disgruntled politicians, and ruthless financiers, often referred to as the Syndicate, had concocted a scheme of breathtaking ambition to gain absolute control over the nation's rail network. Their plan was intricate, multi-pronged, and diabolical. First, they would orchestrate a series of strategic railroad strikes across key lines, paralyzing transportation and creating economic chaos. This would be exacerbated by a carefully timed manipulation of the stock market, driving down the value of railroad companies to rock bottom. Then, using their vast hidden wealth, the syndicate would swoop in and buy up these devalued assets, consolidating ownership of America's vital infrastructure. With the railroads under their thumb, they could dictate shipping prices, control the flow of goods, and exert unparalleled political influence, effectively holding the nation hostage. Enter David S. Lavender, a man of quiet demeanor and sharp intellect. Lavender worked as a telegraph operator for the Union Pacific Railroad in a dusty, nondescript station in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He was a master of Morse code, his fingers flying across the keys with an almost preternatural speed and accuracy. Day in and day out, he would receive and transmit thousands of messages, commercial orders, personal correspondences, railroad operational directives. Most of it was mundane, routine, but Lavender had a peculiar gift, an eidetic memory for patterns, and an uncanny ability to discern the subtle nuances of human communication, even through the impersonal clicks and beeps in the telegraph. It began innocently enough. Lavender started noticing odd telegraphic traffic, seemingly innocuous messages coded with unique phrases and sent between individuals who had no apparent business connection began to appear with increasing frequency. He observed an intricate web of communications, a clandestine dialogue unfolding beneath the surface of legitimate railroad operations. One particular phrase, "The Iron Serpent sleeps," appeared repeatedly, always followed by a string of numbers that defied standard interpretation. Lavender, driven by a growing sense of unease, began to meticulously log these peculiar transmissions. He worked in secret, often staying late after his shifts, re-examining old telegraph tapes, cross-referencing sender and receiver identities, and poring over the cryptic language. He understood that these were not random anomalies, but pieces of a much larger puzzle. His suspicions hardened when he intercepted a series of messages discussing imminent disruptions and financial opportunities, coinciding with specific dates and locations of rumored labor unrest. The pieces slowly began to click into place. The turning point came when Lavender intercepted a message, seemingly a coded financial transaction, that mentioned Operation Ophidian and Phase 1 initiation, followed by a list of major railroad hubs. His hair on the arms stood on end. Ophidian, snake-like. The Iron Serpent sleeps. The railroads. He realized he was staring at the blueprint of a vast conspiracy. The imminent disruptions were the strikes. The financial opportunities were the stock market manipulations. And the Phase 1 initiation was the signal to unleash the chaos. Lavender knew he had stumbled upon something enormous, something dangerous. The Syndicate had moles everywhere, even in the upper echelons of the railroad companies and the government. He couldn't trust anyone without absolute certainty. His only recourse was to expose them. But how? A lone telegraph operator against a cabal of powerful figures seemed like a suicide mission. His breakthrough came through an unexpected ally, the Telegraph itself. Lavender realized that the Syndicate, confident in their secrecy, were using their own private telegraphic codes, believing them impenetrable. But Lavender, through sheer persistence and his exceptional understanding of Morse code, had begun to crack their cipher. He discovered that the string of numbers following the Iron Serpent sleeps wasn't a random sequence, but a numerical key that, when applied to certain phrases within their messages, revealed their true, sinister meaning. Armed with this critical knowledge, Lavender hatched a daring plan. He couldn't just present his findings, he needed irrefutable proof. He began to ghost the Syndicate's communications. Using his deep understanding of their coded language, he would intercept their messages, decode them, and then, using his own telegraph key, subtly alter seemingly innocuous outgoing messages from legitimate sources within the railroad network. These altered messages, still appearing normal to casual observers, contained hidden warnings and questions embedded within the Syndicate's own cipher, effectively turning their communication network against them. One night, Lavender received a critical transmission detailing the exact dates and locations of the first wave of orchestrated strikes. He knew he had to act fast. Instead of simply reporting it, which could put him in immediate danger and alert the Syndicate, he crafted a masterful countermove. He waited for a seemingly routine message from a regional railroad director to a high-ranking official in Washington, D.C., a man he knew the Syndicate monitored. Lavender subtly inserted a decoded fragment of the Syndicate's strike plan, disguised as a casual observation about unusual labor chatter in certain areas. Then he encoded this fragment using a slightly modified version of the Syndicate's own cipher, making it look like an internal communication from one of their own operatives. This was a stroke of genius. The Syndicate, intercepting the message, would interpret it as an internal report from one of their moles, confirming their plans were on track. But the high-ranking official in Washington, D.C., a man known for his meticulous attention to detail and his distrust of easy answers, would receive a seemingly ordinary message containing a subtle, coded warning. Lavender bet everything on this official's astuteness, and it paid off. The Washington official, a man named Secretary Thorne, had a reputation for his meticulous attention to detail and his distrust of easy answers. He recognized the subtle discrepancies in the labor chatter report, a flicker of unease that didn't quite fit the sender's usual style. He initiated a discreet inquiry, using his own trusted network. Slowly, painstakingly, Lavender's breadcrumbs led him down the rabbit hole. Thorne, now convinced of a conspiracy, realized the immense danger. He needed more. Lavender, now working directly, though secretly, with Thorne, became his eyes and ears. Lavender continued to intercept and manipulate the Syndicate's communications, feeding Thorne crucial intelligence about their stock market maneuvers and their planned expansion of the strikes. He even managed to subtly sabotage some of their coded messages, causing confusion and delays within their ranks. The climax arrived during a crucial moment. The Syndicate initiated Phase 2, a massive stock market dump designed to crash railroad shares. Simultaneously, widespread strikes erupted across the nation, paralyzing transportation. America teetered on the brink of economic collapse, but thanks to Lavender's pre-warning, Secretary Thorne had already mobilized. He had discreetly alerted key financial players and government agencies, enabling them to counter the Syndicate's market manipulations and offer support to the railroad companies.
When the Syndicate moved to buy up the devalued shares, they found their efforts thwarted. The prices, though low, were not as catastrophic as they had planned, and a network of legitimate investors, quietly assembled by Thorne, was ready to buy, preventing the Syndicate from gaining majority control. The strikes, while disruptive, were met with swift and coordinated responses, limiting their impact. The Great Railroad Conspiracy, a plot designed to seize control of the nation's transportation lifeline, had been narrowly averted. The ensuing investigation, fueled by the evidence meticulously gathered by Lavender and presented by Secretary Thorne, exposed the Syndicate. High-profile industrialists, corrupt politicians, and shadowy financiers were arrested, their illicit activities brought to light. The scandal rocked the nation, leading to widespread reforms in both the railroad industry and financial markets. David S. Lavender, the quiet telegraph operator from Wyoming, faded back into relative obscurity. He never sought fame or accolades, content to have served his country in his own unique way. His extraordinary memory, his keen intellect, and his unwavering dedication to justice, combined with the power of the nascent telegraph technology, had saved America from an unseen enemy. His story, a testament to the power of one individual to make a profound difference, remains a remarkable, if often overlooked, chapter in the rich and complex tapestry of American history. It reminds us that even in the most technological of advancements, the human element of vigilance and integrity remains the most potent defense against the forces of greed and corruption.